Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Soul Speak. I am your host, Emily Miller, intuitive guide and healer. All right, so this week we are going to talk about the subconscious brain. This subconscious brain, is so very important. The subconscious brain is the brain that is actually running the show. It is the part of your brain that is holding on to all of those limiting beliefs and all of those programs that you have running on autoplay that you are not even aware of. It is wildly important. Last week we talked about the ego brain and how that brain is the brain that we're aware of. That brain is the part that is telling us, don't do that, that's not safe, like that kind of brain. And we are hyper conscious of that conscious brain, that ego brain. We know when we are feeling scared or we are feeling nervous or we are feeling like too much emotion about something. And that's where that ego brain comes into play. And it is telling us like, be careful, that's new. And you need to be careful of what you're doing with that. And so this week we're shifting into that subconscious brain because this is the part of the brain that so many people are not aware of. This brain runs like your breathing runs. It is just going. We inhale, we exhale, we don't think about it. Well, I mean, sometimes we kind of do if we are exerting too much or whatever. Anyway, breathing just happens. The subconscious brain is just running. The subconscious brain, we are pretty much completely unaware of the programs that are going on in there. And so we really need to sort of get into like the nitty-gritty of it and why it's so important. Because if you're unaware of it, then you're not going to be able to change the things that are going on in your life that you don't love. The subconscious brain holds on to the beliefs that we hold about ourselves. Specifically, it holds on to those limiting beliefs that we hold about ourselves. And those limiting beliefs are the things that keep us from reaching our full potential. These are the lies, basically, that we hold about ourselves, these untruths that we should be a different way than what we are. Okay? Those thoughts, those feelings, those beliefs that we are not perfect exactly the way that we are is something that is not ours. Our true self did not bring those lies to us. Higher self and source had a little bit of a plan in place for that to let us know, what the things are that our soul needs to overcome in this lifetime. That is why we have those limiting beliefs, but they are not our true, highest, most aligned, best expressed version of us. Those are there so that we can figure out what they are and then clear them out and have that lesson and learn that lesson in this lifetime so that we never have to deal with it again, okay? That is why we have these limiting beliefs that are tucked into our subconscious programming that is just running and running and running your life. So, because it is like breathing, we don't even think about what's going on in that subconscious brain. We aren't taught to check in and be like, oh, what program is running in there that you need to get rid of? That's not something that you learn in, middle school, which would be probably the most prime time to learn that information so that you aren't holding on to all this stuff while your body is kind of going nuts with hormones and you're having all of these times whenever you are trying to fit into the crowd, to make friends, to really get into this like social game of life. This would be a really, really important time to know these kinds of things. So because you've never been taught to look into the subconscious brain, or even how to look into the subconscious brain to see what kind of programs are running, most people, like, better than 95% of the world just live through the way that their subconscious brain is going. You don't have to live that way. You are here listening to this podcast today, so then you get this information to know that things can change, right? You are looking for a better way, and I have a better way. We can dig into that subconscious brain to figure out what sort of programs are running there that are not your own, and then be able to reprogram the brain with subconscious beliefs, because we have conscious beliefs, and then we can cement them into the subconscious brain so that those beliefs that serve us can then be the ones that are on constant play. A belief is only something that you have heard over and over again. A belief is not automatically true. Beliefs are just there because someone, somewhere, sometime started telling you something, and you attached that thing that that person told you to you and made it something that is a part of you. So this is a very basic belief, but I'll tell you one for me. I always believed that I wasn't good at math. I haven't even looked into this, but I probably failed a math test one time in like second grade. Who knows? And somebody then said, Emily, you really aren't very good at math. And so then I thought I wasn't good at math. And then I created experiences in my life that repeatedly told me over and over again that I wasn't good at math. And while I don't love math and I'm not amazing at math, there are types of math that I am really good at. I can do money math. I remember going to college. I was just telling my neighbor this story because we were talking about how much we didn't like math. And I went to college and I failed like all of these entrance exam things, and I had to take 2 semesters of entry-level math. And after that, then I had to take college algebra, which my stepdad helped me take. I took it online so that he could help me take it. And the only thing I had to do in person was take an exam. And I remember studying these note cards on the way, like driving my car and reading these note cards on the way to try to pass college algebra. And thank God I did pass. But then the point of this story is this other math that I had to take in college was an accounting math. And I was like, oh, I'm actually good at math. Like this math I understand. I just wasn't good at plugging numbers and letters and telling stories that, made absolutely no sense to me. But if we're talking about money, like I could figure this out. I know how to work the money stuff. So I'm not bad at math. I just wasn't great at whatever that stuff was that I was learning. And also, I had a subconscious program running in my brain telling me, Emily, you are not good at math. And when you think something, that thought that you have about yourself automatically by 60% is going to change the way that you perform at that thing. No matter what. Scientifically proven. You are going to not be good at something. If you think you're not good at it, you will not be good at it. It's that old saying from Henry Ford, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. Like, I think that's the saying. I don't know, something like that. But your thoughts are wildly important. And these subconscious programmings get started with a thought that you attach a feeling to, and then you replay it over and over and over again. And when you have these thoughts that you believe to be true, a belief that you hold, and you focus on it, in comes the law of focus, to where the more that you focus on something, the more you're going to get of that thing. So I believed I was bad at math. I thought I was bad at math. I attached this strong feeling to, frustration and sadness and whatever else, pressure on me to be good at math and whatever. And so then I got more and more of being bad at math, until finally I was like, I'm not bad at math. I'm just bad at that kind of math. I didn't like that. Give me some money stuff and I can handle it, right? So that's one way that you can kind of get a belief stuck into your subconscious brain. Then there's other ways that you can get beliefs stuck in there, and that is through programming of things in your environment. So a very simple example of this would be like if you are watching TV, listening to the radio, if you're on YouTube, ads are popping up. You're probably going to see an ad pop up on this on YouTube. And right now, there are so many ads for pharmaceuticals, all sorts of drugs, right? And you see these ads over and over and over and over again. So let's say that you're seeing an ad on Alzheimer's or dementia, and this miracle drug that they're promoting over and over again in these ads is going to cure dementia. Well, if you are seeing over and over again these ads telling you that, and let's say you're just, young, you're not even thinking about this yet, you're not a 60-year-old person, but you're young and you're seeing these ads on dementia, then you are going to think that when you get old, you're going to have dementia, that's just a thing, because if there's drugs for it, and, they tell you that 70% of America experiences dementia in this ad, then you're going to think, because you've heard over and over and over again that you're going to get dementia because 70% of America gets dementia, then, well, shit, I'm probably going to get dementia too. So you're thinking that dementia is something that you're going to get whenever you get old. That's not true. Like, you don't have to get that at all. You don't have to experience that at all. That's just something that they're promoting right now, these companies who make billions of dollars off of these drugs that they're selling as a cure, even though if you listen to the end of the ad, it tells you like, oh, but if you take this drug, it's going to cause diarrhea and death and probably dementia, right? Like, who wants to take this drug that's going to give you the thing that they're selling you a cure for, but it's going to make you sick? I don't know. Anyway, so it can also be something like that. Another example is like in music that you listen to. If you are listening to the same songs over and over again, you love, a certain album, and that album is not like positive and uplifting. It doesn't have a message that is, of abundance and limitlessness, and that you can achieve anything in this world, but it's about cheating boyfriends and friends who suck, and what else are they about? Stalking boyfriends. I don't know. Whatever these songs could be about, it's gonna then program into your belief system that men suck, right? And they're all gonna cheat on you. And so then you have this belief now that you're bad at math, that all men are going to cheat on you, and that you're going to die of dementia one day. So you have these really awful things just running, wild in your subconscious brain, because you've got these beliefs that all of these things are true, and it's only because you've heard them over and over and over again. That's all a belief is. So seeing how simple yet not simple it is to create a belief, we can change that. If you can see what is in your creator field, what that subconscious brain is holding on to that is making these certain things in your life happen, you don't have to experience them anymore. So the things that you've been holding on to for a really long time, these subconscious thoughts that you've been holding on to for, let's say, decades, right? Something that you, like me, being bad at math, thinking that since I was 7. So those kind of beliefs can sometimes take a little bit longer to work out of your subconscious brain because you've held them for so long. Depending on how deep they are and how embedded that they are. Now, newer thoughts can sometimes take a little less time to get out. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Because sometimes the newer thoughts, they can be harder to get out because it's harder to find proofs that those things aren't true. So I rewind and I take that back just a tiny bit. It just depends on how strong your belief is. It doesn't matter about the time of it. It just depends on how strong this belief is. And what we can do is then figure out what that exact thought is that's causing the thing that you don't like in your existence. So let's say that, let's take an example of something that you don't like in your existence. Maybe it is you're holding on to extra weight, okay? This is something that is so very, very common. I don't know one woman who I could walk up to right now and say, well, I know of a few, but not many women. And that's only because I'm friends with a lot of people who are doing the same work as me. There are very few women who I could walk up to in this world and say, are you happy with your body? And 98% of them are going to say no, okay? Most of them have issues with weight that they're holding somewhere in their body, okay? And every single person who is holding on to extra weight is holding on to a belief about themselves that is creating that extra weight, okay? We can get into the creator field and we can see exactly what that thought is, what that belief is that they are holding on to that is creating that extra weight in their body. And whenever you get into that thought, whenever you get into the subconscious brain and the creator field to see what it's holding on to and what that thought is, then you can clear it out. Okay? So, holding on to extra weight, I'll just give you guys this also, but holding on to extra weight in your body, it's all different depending on different areas, but your body holds on to fat because it is protecting itself. It is a layer of protection that it is holding onto to protect itself. It could be protecting itself from you. It could be protecting itself from, and from you, I mean words that you're saying to yourself, these thoughts and beliefs that you're holding on to about yourself that don't serve you. You could be beating yourself up about different things. You could also not be trusting yourself to do the things that are necessary to get to the life that you want. There's always a protection that your body is holding onto so that those mean words, those mean thoughts, those things that don't serve you don't reach the things that are underneath that layer of fat. An example of that would be a lot of women hold extra weight on their lower stomach. And so if you think about what is underneath that lower belly area, it is all of your reproductive organs. And so when you look into that and you think, okay, there's this layer of extra fat on the lower belly, what's beneath there? What's it protecting? It's protecting those organs. It doesn't want for those mean words to make its way into those organs and cause greater disease. So your body, like, it's wild to think about. It loves you so much that it puts on these extra layers of fat to protect those vital organs that you need to survive and to recreate life, or reproduce life. It is protecting that part of your body so that those mean words and those mean thoughts and those things that don't serve you don't get there. It's keeping that disease out of that area, and it can only do that for so long, but that is why it's there. It's a layer of protection. So it's wild to think that. I love that idea that the body it's there to protect you. It's there as like the biggest communicator to you, to show you what's going on in that subconscious thought field that you have and what's in your creator field and why we're holding on to that extra weight. So that's a really good first kind of way to see what is in the subconscious brain, is to see what things within your body and your existence are things that you don't like, because that is the number one communicator of your creator field and of your higher self, to show you where you are holding these beliefs about yourself that are running in that subconscious brain, to show you like exactly down to like a perfect science of what is going on in that creator field so that you can clear it out. And using intuition, I have these really amazing ways to get into that, to see exactly what that is, what that thought is, what that emotion is that you're holding on to with that thought that is creating those things, like the extra fat in your lower stomach, or the light that comes on in your car, or the parent who is constantly hounding you about your love life, or your partner who isn't being nice to you and giving you the attention that you deserve, or why your money isn't coming in and flowing in the way that you really want it to be showing up for you. All of these areas of your life, all 8 areas of life, they all are constantly communicating to you what is in that subconscious brain. So it's just kind of like a little investigative puzzle that you have to get into to see exactly what those things are communicating to you, so that you can get into that subconscious brain, understand those programs that are running that you are completely unaware of, and shift those limiting beliefs that you're holding on to that have been there for, could be decades, could be a week, and get them out so that you don't have to experience these things in life that you don't like. So that lower belly fat doesn't turn into cervical cancer. So that boyfriend who doesn't treat you very well doesn't turn into a husband who's abusive. So that the money that you aren't receiving right now doesn't turn into bankruptcy. These are how these ways that we use intuition serve you so well. We can see what these things are now that might be at like a level 5, or even if they're at a level 10, we can still keep them from causing complete like disruption and failure within your life. So they show you, okay, you're at like a level 5 right now. You're starting to pay attention. You're listening to this podcast. You're learning about these things. And you're like, okay, Emily told me I'm at, this level now, and I want to keep it from getting to a level 10. So let's get into this subconscious brain. Let's get into that creator field and see what kind of programs are running in there, and how do I get rid of them? How do I get this belief out? And so you find that very, very specific belief, and then you get the very precise, most perfect tools to get them out, to reprogram that brain in the very best way to the things that serve you. You can change those limiting beliefs. You can completely change the brain. There are so many studies that talk about how now people used to believe that you couldn't learn new things, that the brain was done like growing at age 18 and your brain was just what it was and that you couldn't change it. Now everybody knows in these studies that the neural pathways are constantly growing. They're constantly changing. They can constantly be rewired to create new ones. So what happens when we start reprogramming this subconscious brain is we start creating these new neural pathways. And these pathways, once you have these new ones established by creating this belief, this new belief that you want, that is creating the reality that you want, it snuffs out the old one, and it like puts a cover on it, it dies, it goes away, it dissolves. And now you have all of these new neural pathways that are creating this beautiful life for you. So while it seems like, okay, like super scientific that I have to get in there and figure out what's going on in the subconscious brain and then reprogram it with all of these new neural pathways, and it is something that takes a little bit of work to get to. But like I've said before, if it's not something that you're willing to work for, and if it's not something that's going to take a little bit or a lot of bit of effort to change, then it's not worth changing, right? Like if it just comes in an instant, in a second, it's not going to last. So you need to like be ready to put in that work, to put in that effort to get rid of, to snuff out those old neural pathways and create these new beautiful networks within your brain that have these beautiful subconscious programs just running that are, making gorgeous gardens instead of, paved out parking lots. I think that's a song. So you would want that. Instead, like you want to be planting all these beautiful seeds to create a gorgeous garden rather than letting somebody else choose what is going on in your subconscious brain, letting those programs from other people, from other places, from things that you are not even aware of running. We don't want other people to control our lives. We don't want them having a say because they don't know what's best for us. We do. Higher self, source, they created us in this lifetime to experience our life as our true self. It just takes a little bit of effort to get there. It takes a little bit of digging. It takes a little bit of planting those new beautiful seeds to get that garden that you want. You get to choose. I want roses. I want daisies. I want hydrangeas. I don't want weeds. I don't want, I don't even know of an ugly plant right now. I don't want any of that icky stuff in my garden. I want to pick it. I want to make it beautiful. I want to put exactly in this garden what I desire. And that is what you get to do whenever you understand, like you've just gotten to know today, that the subconscious brain runs it all. And whenever we realize what is in that subconscious brain, we can put in it whatever we want. We are the creators of our own reality. So remember that today. It is so wildly important. And I'd say listen to this episode again. It's got so much information in it. Our brains can only handle so much. They are like taking probably 20% in of all the things I've said today. So listen again so that you can really understand what's going on in that subconscious brain and start becoming aware. What are the things that I don't love that are going on in my life right now? How could I be having these things? Where could these subconscious beliefs have come from? Who knows, really? And with my intuition, I can figure it out and let you know because we're able to go back and see where those beliefs came from. I can see that this belief of me not being good at math started at the age of 7 by, my second grade teacher who gave me an F on a math test, and then I took it home and my parents were upset about it. That is how these beliefs get stored. They can be something that small that you grab onto and hold on to for a lifetime, but not anymore. We can get rid of them. I can find them, clear them, and reprogram them. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous thing. So remember to go ahead and sign up for the newsletters. Go to my website. The link is in the show notes. Sign up for the newsletters for free exclusive webinars and live Q&As where you guys can tap into my intuition and ask me all sorts of questions. We'll have exclusive little healing events too. I'm really excited to do one of those. And if you are wanting to get into your subconscious brain and figure out what kind of little programs are running in there and running your life, sign up for a free mini read. Tell me what you want to know about, what you're experiencing right now, and I can get in, figure out what that belief is, and let you know what you are holding on to that is not serving you and probably didn't even come from you. So have a gorgeous, gorgeous week.